Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes. Time to have a more, just an in-depth conversation about the culture around comic books. And here to talk with me about that today is my good friend Doc, co-host of the Comics Aficionados, the Marvel aficionado himself. How you doing, Doc?
I'm special. I am happy. This one's gonna be fun.
Well, it's a pretty interesting. Last week we kind of talked about why we don't give up on comics. Like, hey, you're more in love with the characters, and I'm more like, if no one's here to document everything that's wrong, nothing can ever get better. You're not going to be able to drive me away. And everyone's like, you guys are crazy. You guys are morons. What are you doing? And it feels like the divide between comic creators and even publishers and their customer base, the people that grew up loving these stories and these characters, grows wider every day. And I'm not going to blame just one side. I think the customers are at fault to a degree. Certainly the creators are at fault to a degree, and the publishers themselves, kind of not keeping the creators in check a little bit with the way that they talk to people. Can absolutely. This even be healed, Doc? Is there any fixing this weird divide that's growing, this chasm between the customer base who are supposed to be paying for these comics and the creators who seem to resent the customers?
My answer here has to be no. I mean, there is hope to fix it. I mean, that it can be healed, that it's not irredeemably destroyed. That has to be my answer. And the reason why is because otherwise, what the fuck are we doing? I mean, if we already know the outcome, then I have to remain hopeful. Until I literally don't have any hope left to be able to, have at all under any circumstances, I have to, it's weird hearing me claim to be the goddamn optimist. But I have to be, because alternatively, what's the point? And we might as well just give up now.
Yeah, if reconciliation or fixing these issues is not an option, then might as well just let it go away. I'm also with you. I remain hopeful. I think these things can be fixed, but it takes an understanding on both sides. The customers probably could be a little bit nicer about these things, but in my opinion, it mostly falls on the lap of the creators and the publishers. And we know the creators like to the comic book writers and artists like to brag about, we're this tight-knit community. We kind of police ourselves. And I think I think they do. I think they do have their own little community, their own little culture. And I think they do influence each other. And I think that's why things have gotten worse and worse, is because the creators that are seen as leaders are doing it themselves, or they're kind of
I agree with that. Yeah.
Giving top cover, or even accepting the behavior that's going on, until you get some real leaders in the comic industry, some creators that have a mindset of maybe a Todd McFarlane, a Robert Kirkman. And it seems like the better leaders are outside of the mainstream comics. Until people start looking to those people, or they take charge and kind of get the house in order and like, listen, you can't do this. This is, people can't talk to you this way, but you can't do this either. Until there's some in-house, in-community, some change in the culture within the creators, I don't think it can get better.
Well, no, it can't. The creators are, look, let's be honest. Most of them are antisocial weirdos. They likely ended up
at a lot of creators. No, a lot of them seem nice. At least the ones that'll talk to me. How's that?
I'm not saying that they're all bad, and I'm not saying that they're incapable of any sort of human interaction. I'm saying that they don't actually grasp the impact that their activities and their behavior has on their careers. They're not good.
They seem to grasp it when they got a GoFundMe, but until that moment, it seems like all bets are off.
Yeah, like they seem to forget how to regularly interact with people in a normal way. They react. I mean, look, I understand they're interacting with people on the internet, But when you interact with people on the internet, that's not the way you interact with people in the real world. And except for the difference here is if I interact like I'm on the internet with a creator, it does not harm me in any way. When a creator interacts with me like a person on the internet, it does affect them because I take my money away. There is a financial pain for them being douchebags. There is no financial pain for me being a douchebag.
No, I think people shouldn't be douchebags, period. I think, like I said, there's issues on both sides.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying that that leaves me blameless. I'm still a douchebag. I'm just saying that me being a douchebag doesn't actually harm myself, and it doesn't harm them other than, I hurt their feelings. When they do it to me, they hurt my feelings and I take my money away from them. They're not paying me in any way. My livelihood, my anything is not affected by it. Theirs is when they act that way.
And I do want to clarify. We're using the word creators as a kind of like a catch-all.
Yeah.
Most comic book creators, artists, writers, even the editorial staff, letters, colorists, all the people involved with making comics. A vast majority of these people are just normal people. You don't hear from them. Yeah. If you do, they're just kind of putting out the word on their product and stuff like that and answering a question here and there. It's that little like 10% of absolute nut jobs that everyone focuses on because they're the loudest and they make the best or the biggest impression, which is absolutely dreadful. Now, there are some people that are great to interact with, but, just because there's a good, it doesn't mean it wipes out the bad,
Exactly. I mean, like, look, yeah, you're right. It's probably, I don't even think it's 10%. I think it's probably closer to like 2%. The problem is those 2% end up being, Jesus Christ, they're such a fucking drain on your industry. They end up being the representatives, and they're a bunch of nobodies for the most part. I'm sorry, even Dan Slott, in the grand scheme of comics, if you were to look at the last 60 years, he's a fucking no talent, no accomplishment, nobody. The only thing he's managed to do is being the only guy left around to stick around on Spider-Man for a long time. That's it.
Do you think anybody like a creator or a peer, after seeing what happened with Jimmy from Comic Works, one of the nicer guys, he went into his DMs, obviously bullied him, covered it here on my channel. It was covered in other places as well. Do you think anybody went up to him and said, like, what are you doing? Like, the thing is, like a 20-year-old guy, he's not getting paid. He's going out there and promoting comics, including yours, for the most part, and he's quite optimistic about the current state of comic books. He likes a lot of things other people don't like. Why are you going into his DMs and bullying him and telling him who he can interact with? Do you think anyone had the gumption or even the wherewithal to be like, hey, listen, I need to reach out for this guy because he's essentially salting the earth that is the comic book industry and the way customers see the people that they're buying from?
No, I don't think anybody did. And I can almost guarantee nobody did, because the entire comics industry, well, not the entire, but a lot of the big publishers and a portion of the talent believes they're in a post sales world. They don't believe that the customers actually matter. And even whenever they think they do matter, they convince themselves that we're not the customers, that as long as they're not pissing off the stores, that's all that matters. So no, they don't.
They are pissing off the stores. I hear from stores all the time.
I understand that, but if it doesn't affect the sales ordering, or it doesn't affect it significantly enough, and the thing is, it's a moving goalpost for them. They creatives that want to not give a shit about the reaction of customers and readers will find an excuse to not give a shit. The problem is you need to eliminate those creatives from the industry. If you want it to get better,
I'm not about eliminating, but they need feedback and they need leadership from other people since they police themselves.
Well, no,
and someone to come in and be like, hey, you actually can't treat people like that.
Well, no. But the problem is even if somebody came up to them and said, no, you can't treat them like that, they will constantly move their own goalposts to justify their excuse for either shit talking or just outright ignoring of criticism, because they don't want to hear it. People that don't want to hear something, they will literally stick their fingers in their ears. They will find a way to not actually listen to the criticism because they don't want to hear it. And even if their boss comes up, until their boss actually threatens to fire them, which they won't, they know that they don't actually have to listen. So if somebody came up to Dan Slott and said, what you just did with Jimmy was wildly unacceptable, and you need to fucking apologize, and you need to knock that shit off. Well, obviously he never apologized, and he obviously hasn't knocked that shit off. So he didn't listen. He's not going to listen as long as he still has a job. And that's my point. That's why they need eliminated from the industry, because until they actually suffer some sort of consequence in the loss of a position, the loss of work, they're not going to listen, because they've gotten away with not listening to this point, and they've gotten away with justifying not listening with a series of changing explanations. We were talking about.
I just want to put this out there. I personally am not a fan of cancel culture. If their publisher wants to end their contract and say, enough's enough, hey, good on them. I'm glad you're sticking in for your customer, but that's on them. I'm never going to call for anyone to be fired.
No.
Unless they do something illegal or something.
I'm not calling for Dan Slott to be fired. He's welcome to stay. My point is, until I'm just giving the facts on the ground here of, because of Dan Slott's ability to continue getting work without any sort of change, positive change in his behavior and his interactions with criticism, he will never improve of his own volition. I'm used to dealing with people that are, I've had a lot of friends. I'm always that guy that all my friends come to for advice. And when people get away with doing something, the one thing I figured out about human nature is, as long as they get away and they suffer no consequences, what you permit, you promote.
I have the same theory. I've talked to my wife about it. I said every interaction with another human being is you essentially telling them how you're willing to be treated.
Yeah.
If someone treats you poorly and you accept it, you can only expect to be treated poorly in the future. If someone treats you well and you appreciate it, you're only encouraging further good treatment in the future. So I that's why I tell her I don't ever put up with any bullshit. She's always like, why are you saying like that? I was like, I don't put up with bull crap, because every time someone gives me or treats me poorly, that's my opportunity to tell them, no, that will not ever happen again.
Exactly. And the thing is, the only way that you can teach them the lesson of no, that is unacceptable behavior, is to have them suffer some consequences. And they're the person in charge, whoever their boss is, whoever's making that decision, needs to look at them and constantly make that evaluation. But do not expect an improvement in people like Dan Slott, people like,
Ducati.
Yeah.
What else we got to talk about? Heather Ontos. Let's talk about Heather Ontos.
Yeah.
Interesting enough. I've talked to quite a few professionals, and I've been told specifically, yes, we are aware that Heather Ontos is unprofessional. Yes, we are aware that she is not good at her job. But no one will ever say a thing about Heather Ontos, because certain people, critics of the industry, not specifically me, because I don't think anyone knows who I am, but specifically like somebody like Richard Meyer, because that person was critical of them, essentially she's off limits. Like, you cannot criticize as a creator and say that Heather Ontos is doing a bad job, because that would imply that you support Richard Meyer and everything that he says, because you backed up or verified what he has said about this one person. And I've been told that about multiple creators, not just that editor, but multiple creators that are consistently out there being unprofessional or bad at their jobs. My reply to this was, so are you telling me that if Richard never made a video about Heather Ontos, there would be comic pros out there criticizing her performance as an editor and the way that she treats people, and I kind of got a dead silence on that one. I was like, I didn't think so.
Yeah, they were never going to do it. And that's where I said,
but they are aware.
I understand, but that's why I said earlier when you said they claim to police themselves. That's why I said horseshit, because they're a community. Yeah, they take the lead from one another, but policing themselves, that's complete and utter horseshit. They don't.
Not until it benefits them and they could get like some type of like an article written points for something. Yeah, for okay, now it's time to not support this. I've known this guy has been sexually harassing people for 15 years, but now it's time to make a stand because it's in the news and people will congratulate me for speaking up.
Exactly. Like the Eddie Berganza thing. Everybody, somehow everybody knew, nobody did a damn thing about it. So they don't police themselves worth a fuck. That is complete and utter horseshit. Now,
you know what else is interesting? I want to get to this point here at the end. Is there's a lot of scapegoating. I see this a ton. Is that whenever there's criticism, valid criticism on a creator or just an issue within comic books, they always want to change the narrative or the conversation. It's no longer about what we're talking about. It's Comicsgate. No, we're not talking about this. You support Comicsgate. You must be a Comicsgate or you're alt-right or something like this. It's like, that's not the conversation. Whether I'm Comicsgate or alt-right, whatever you want to call me, since it's only about labeling somebody. And the reason that they do this, Doc, is so that they can marginalize your opinion and it's basically dismiss you whether you have a point or not. And that's, until people in the industry, and I'm saying it's not everybody, but there are a large amount of people that they are so used, their defense, their shield is to say, you must be Comicsgate. You must be an alt-righter. You must be a bigot. Rather than accepting the criticism, looking at it, through an open lens and be like, well, maybe there is something wrong here. But it's so easy to marginalize somebody's opinion by labeling something with them, whether you have proof of that being true or not. And it's a scapegoat for almost everybody now.
Well, it is, but it goes back to what I said earlier. When people don't want to hear criticism, they will come up with any excuse in the book for why your criticism is invalid. Like during it, and it'll be the comics, accusations of Comicsgate. Well, therefore, we don't have to listen to you. We had this in that video about continuing to buy comics. Everybody was like, you need to stop buying. You need to stop buying. Okay, well, what message does that send? This is the catch-22. If you stop buying comics from them, well, why should we listen to them? They're not putting any money in our pocket. If you continue to buy comics, well, why should we listen to them? It hasn't gotten bad enough that they stopped reading yet. If you can't criticize before and you can't criticize after, when the fuck can you criticize? Same thing.
If you do criticize, you get labeled, and your reputation. Try to tarnish your reputation and try to accuse you of all these things that they have absolutely no proof of.
Yeah, exactly.
Doc, seriously, we made a video over 2 years ago about why we weren't interested in Comicsgate, why we're not a part of it, right?
Yeah.
I maintained all the stuff that I'm not Comicsgate. I've not joined with the crowd. I know Comicsgate exists. But seriously, if someone calls you a Comicsgater, what are they implying?
Honestly,
for the most part,
at this point,
when I hear that, it means that you probably have a good point at this point in time.
Yeah, it's like
you have a point I can't debate, so I will call you Comicsgate because it's easier than actually listening to you.
It's the nerd version of the political arguments. Well, if I can't logically beat your argument, I'll just call you a racist, istis, sexist, homophobe, bigot. It's the same thing. It's you can't win, so you name call. It's literally third grade or fucking kindergarten debate tactics. I can't beat you. I can't like invalidate your point. So therefore I will just call you a big fat meanie and hurt your feelings.
When people come in the comments and that's their comment is, oh, you must be Comicsgate. You're clearly all right. You must be a racist. You must be a xenophobe. But I've heard them all. I know I've already won because
Yeah.
my point was so concise and so well spelled out and so well communicated that you literally could not debate it. So you had to go to the lowest form of denominator and just name call and try to give out baseless accusations. Have fun. You've basically put up the white flag and said, I give up.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
And you know what? But at the same time, I don't necessarily think that it's always that my argument is perfect. I also think maybe they're just really fucking stupid too.
Hey, even if they're stupid, that still means I won. I don't care.
Yes.
I take the dub.
I won the debate, man. Maybe I debated a moron, but I won the debate, damn it. But no, yeah. Look,
W's.
but coming back to, I guess, the main theme here of can things be healed? Well, yes, but it requires some reasonable
a level
discussion.
of self-awareness to realize there's a problem that needs to be fixed.
Yes.
And I think there's an entire group of people that are in power, and it's crazy. Most of the people that are in power are not successful, but those people that are influential are completely unwilling to ever admit that there's a problem that may be part of the problem, because at that point,
they benefit from it.
you would actually have to address it.
Well, yeah. I mean, a lot of the people with some degree of influence or sway or power, they benefit from the current system in the comics industry.
Well, they certainly benefit from Dan Slott. Like, hey, no one's talking about me. I've got this dipshit Dan Slott over here.
Yeah.
What did John Layman say? Oh, we got Kurt Busiek. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. These morons that just spew vile hate and bullshit. The Bill Sienkiewicz's. They provide the top cover for all these other idiots that we should really be talking about.
Exactly. I mean, now, granted though, Slott and Sienkiewicz and Busiek, at least those people matter in the comics industry. The other ones are just loudmouth nobodies. But
at least somehow, they sold a comic book. Yeah,
maybe some of them have maybe sold. Yeah, at least Busiek and Slott have sold some comic books. Iron Spike hasn't sold a fucking thing. But no, like the whole industry, you need them to recognize that there's a problem. But as long as the people that will just continue to move the goalposts on accepting a problem are still in the industry, there won't be any improvement. So you really need, I mean, the companies need to look at themselves and say, okay, which of these people are willing to accept that they're and that there's something wrong. Oh, these people won't. All right. They don't really sell anything, so let's get rid of them. And then you might have some improvement, because I think any real improvement is going to have to start on the side of the creatives and publishers, because they're the ones that started pushing the changes in comics and started insulting the readers publicly and openly first. And
the only
they have
problem there,
to
Doc, is from what I've seen, there's just not a lot of natural leaders within comic books. And the ones that are kind of natural leaders that have tried to do something have kind of all walked away.
Yeah. I mean, you're right.
Every day, the pool of comic book creators gets dumber and dumber because the cream of the crop are like, fuck this, I'm out.
Yeah. They, I'm going to go with an evolutionary analogy here. It was a pond that was slowly shrinking. The minnows are fine with it. The no talent nobodies, they're fine with it. But all the big fish, they grew some legs and walked the fuck out of that ocean.
Yeah. So, well, it was an interesting conversation, Doc. We'll see if as many people dislike us after this one as after the last conversation.
Oh, they will.
There's hope out there, but it's probably fool's hope.
It likely is. But hey, I am perpetually filled with it.